Looks rather dark in there. Never stopped me before.
You're here. Good.
Sebastian, that relic you mentioned,
I believe one of Slytherin's students stumbled upon the relic during an assignment to study sarcophagi in this catacomb. From what I read in a report by the student, they weren't permitted to take it with them, so I must assume it's still here. As I mentioned earlier, this relic grants its holder the power to reverse dark magic curses. If it's in this catacomb, I have to find it. For Anne. I need to see her.
I'd be interested to know what else the student discovered.
Have a look. Unfortunately, there's no name on it, but I suspect if it was important enough for Slytherin to stash in his spellbook, it's worthy of further study.
I'm ready to explore the catacomb. Perhaps we can visit Anne when we've finished.
Perfect. By the way, Ominous has been asking about you. You didn't tell him what we were doing, did you?
I didn't. I promise.
Good. Ominous would be livid if he knew what we were about to do. I'll be interested to compare what lies inside to what I've read about this catacomb. I'm sure that foul smell is the scent of success. Try not to lose your nerve just yet.
Accio!
Ringo! Levioso!
Descendo! At least now we know we're not alone in here.
Perhaps that was it. And the rest of the tomb will be insect-free.
Yeah, the spiders aren't insects.
Don't start. All this grass, it no longer feels like a tomb. I've read about catacombs that underwent expansion efforts and ran into problems, often cave-ins.
And then were abandoned.
Exactly. We'll be fine, though.
Revelio!
Now this is the sort of great room I want to be buried in.
Surrounded by grandeur.
Grandeur and then some. Even an altar with a pile of bones. Lovely.
Bones outside a sarcophagus. Seems odd. There's something here by the altar.
What did you find?
Looks like part of a student's diary. It mentions plans to return for the relic and conjuring barricades using bones.
Of course. The student's summary referenced a space beyond the Great Room, which means this can't be a dead end. Let's divide and conquer. You work on sorting out the bone barricades, I'll look around and see what we missed. Hold on to that diary entry. There may be more to it.
It does mention something else. It says their next assignment was learning the Imperius Curse.
Really? Interesting. We need to focus on moving beyond this room. But let me think for a moment.
Do you think the pages were left here on purpose?
Slytherin mentioned a student who excelled in charms and always carried a satchel stuffed full of notes. They might have been left on purpose, or the student may have simply dropped them.
Of course. I'll start to search for those barricades.
Brilliant. There's more to this than even I imagined. Look, bones stacked oddly on either side of this archway.
Leave no stone unturned. Or in this case, no bone. Accio! Wingardium Leviosa! Depulso! We're in a tomb. I assume eerie sounds come with the territory.
You've done it! I knew we'd get through. I felt it in my bones.
Nice.
Before we trudge on further, I've just realized something. The student's diary mentions the Imperious Curse. I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to need it here. It's an unforgivable, but useful when you're outnumbered. Places the victim completely under the caster's control. So, if you'd like to learn Imperio, I can teach you.
Where did you learn the Imperious Curse?
I taught myself. Don't tell Ominous that I've told you. It's not exactly something I can brag about, but it may come in handy. I think you ought to know it.
Shouldn't I know more about what the curse entails?
Remember the blasting curse? Same idea, except when it comes to unforgivable curses, your intention has to be clear. You have to mean it.
It's probably wise to know the spell.
I couldn't agree more. A spell that could save your life shouldn't be unforgivable. You have a lot at stake. You have an ability that evidently no one's seen for centuries. Focus your wand movement. It's not an easy spell to master. Here we go. Something troubling ahead. Be on your guard.
Incendio. Depulso. Accio. Bombarda.
Another barricade. Considering how well you did on the last one, this should be a cinch.
How gracious of you.
I try. This looks different than what we faced before. Now we're also dealing with rune symbols. You are head and shoulders above these bones. Nicely done. I see why Slytherin's student was so entranced with this place.
Accio. Incendio. For a moment there I thought that'd never end. Incendio. Revelio.
Dead end. Lovely. All that for nothing.
Hold on. Don't give up yet. Sebastian! The relic! Look!
Could it be?
The note and rendition of the relic. It matches. This must be where the student left the relic.
I can't believe it. After all this, it lines up. We've really found it.
What do you suppose is meant by the dark sacrifice required to realize the relic's potential?
I have no idea. But we're here for the relic.
The note advises to leave the relic alone.
I assure you, we were meant to find this. For Anne's sake. I'm taking it. Let's get to Feldcroft. I must keep this relic secret. Especially from my uncle. Is that ominous? Ominous. The sounds we kept hearing. It was you.
You gave me no choice. I had to follow you. Sebastian, please, leave the relic alone. We can find another way to help Anne.
I'm sorry, Ominous, but I'm taking it.
No, you're not. If you won't put it back, then I will.
Hold on, both of you. Sebastian, please, take a step back.
Fine, but Ominous knows I won't step back from a fight.
Can't believe this.
How much did you hear?
Everything. I was glad to hear you tell Sebastian to leave the relic. We need to stand together. Convince Sebastian this is wrong.
And if nothing will change his mind?
Something has to. I need your help.
You're right. This seems far riskier than Sebastian realizes.
Good. We're agreed. We don't allow him to leave here with the relic.
I do think we should talk to him, but I fear we won't stop him from taking the relic.
What are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting we negotiate. We allow Sebastian to leave with the relic under one condition. After this, no more.
I feel that's what we agreed to in the scriptorium. I'm being taken for a fool.
You're not ominous. This may be the only way to keep your friendship intact. Let's trust him to know what's best.
Fine. If I trust him on this, I'm trusting you too. The dark arts seem harmless until it's too late. Go then. Leave with the relic. I'll not say a word more. I hope I don't regret this.
Sebastian! We're ready.
What is it? I haven't changed my mind.
Ominous has. Let's go.
What? Ominous?
I'll explain on the way. Come on.
Well, what happened back there?
Ominous and I found a compromise.
Ominous simply needs a moment with you and he'll change his mind. Is that it?
I told him we ought to give you this chance, that the relic is too important to ignore.
There has to be more to it than that. Tell me.
We agreed on what was needed, Sebastian. You have my word.
I never wanted to keep all this from Ominous. He just doesn't understand. And I did want to worry him all over again. As we were leaving, Ominous wouldn't even acknowledge me. That's not like him.
He was troubled, Sebastian. Even though we agreed to it all, it's been a lot to take in.
I thought he understood. He knew we couldn't give up. All of this is too important. For Anne. When we get to Feldcroft, I'd rather Anne not know what had to be done to get this relic. She thinks like Ominous. It'd only upset her. Oh no, this isn't good.
What is it?
Smoke! Over there, by the hamlet. Feldcroft's in trouble. They're under attack.
Let's hurry.
Put me down!
Accio!
Not your best moment, bring them here. Stay back! Keep out of the way!
There's nowhere to go.
Boy! What have you done?
Saved my sister.
With an unforgivable curse. From that damned book, no doubt. Your father would be ashamed. You've gone too far, Sebastian. Stay away from her. From all of us.
What did my uncle expect me to do? The Imperious curse saved Anne's life. That goblin was going to kill her.
There was little time to react, but it was an unforgivable curse.
I acted in the moment. That's all. I shall make my uncle see reason. He cannot banish me from my own home, from my sister.
It might be best to let him calm down a while. May I speak to him? Perhaps I can help to ease the tension a bit.
You may be right. Very well. Probably best if I get away from here for a while. I'll head back to Hogwarts.
Pardon me, Mr. Sallow.
What Sebastian did was inexcusable. You cannot possibly be about to defend him.
Sebastian acted rashly, but he acted out of instinct to save Anne.
Out of instinct? With an unforgivable curse? This family does not resort to using dark magic even against our enemies. What Sebastian did cannot be undone. That you are defending Sebastian's behavior at all tells me everything I need to know. You are as guilty as he is. Sebastian is to come nowhere near Feldcroft, nowhere near Anne. Unforgivable curses are so named for a reason. If I hear that either of you continues down this path, if either of you uses dark magic, I will notify the headmaster immediately.
Did you speak with my uncle?
I wish I had better news about your uncle and Anne.
Well, what did he say?
I'm afraid he wants you nowhere near Feldcroft. Nor Anne.
I had to stop that goblin from killing my sister. He had no right to banish me from my own twin. If he thinks banishing me means I'm going to give up on Anne, he's sorely mistaken.
He also said he cannot excuse the use of dark magic in any form, and that if he hears of either of us using it, he'll go straight to Professor Black.
That relic, dark magic or not, is the key to saving Anne. To reverse that curse. I will not lose Anne for good. I should send the crest to Anne. She'll know that we need to meet.
I'm afraid I don't follow.
Nothing, just a thought. Now I'm more determined than ever to learn what power that relic has.
What did you mean you'd send Anne a crest so that she'd know to meet you?
We just lost our parents, and we were packing up to go and live with Solomon. We couldn't take everything. She was carefully organizing her prized possessions, a box of artifacts she'd collected to do with our family. Jewelry, cards, old photographs. She got to her favorite, a handmade crest, and without a second thought she handed it to me. This will keep you safe, she said. It holds no enchantment, but I've kept it with me since. That's how I can reach Anne. I'll get the crest to her with plans to meet.
Be careful, Sebastian. Your uncle could intercept it. We'll be expelled.
Even if Ominous is upset with us, he has no love lost for his family. He'd use their connections to the headmaster if we needed his help.
I shall wait to hear from you then.
Thank you. I very much appreciate you standing by me through all of this.
Oh, good, you're safe.
There you are. You were in such a state when you left.
The poachers got to my gran. Someone recognized me in Horntail Hall and they got to her.
What do you mean? Is she all right?
She's fine, thank goodness. But they were at her house, our house. They assumed I'd sent the egg there. She said they took the whole place apart looking for it, screaming that we'd cost them everything.
I'm sorry, Poppy. I'm glad she's all right. I don't think either one of us could have anticipated that.
I should have known. I underestimated the poachers. And now another creature's in danger.
What do you mean?
The poachers refused to leave empty-handed, so they took valuable journals that Gran had discovered when she was researching rare creatures. One of them contained theories about a secret hiding place of the Snidget, long thought to be extinct.
Exactly what kind of creature is a Snidget?
It's a small bird with golden feathers. It's incredible. It has rotational wings that allow it to dart quickly in any direction. In fact, the golden snitch in Quidditch is based on the Snidget, which barbarically was actually used in the sport hundreds of years ago.
Why would Snidgets be valuable to poachers?
They could make more money with Snidgets than they ever would have fighting dragons. The golden snidget's feathers and eyes are incredibly valuable. That's why they're believed to be extinct. They were hunted out of existence by wizard kind. If the poachers found some now, I can't bear to think about the horrific way they'd be bred and killed for profit.
Where exactly are these snidgets allegedly hidden?
Gran says the journals were a bit cryptic, which is good. Perhaps the poachers won't be clever enough to find the birds. From what she recalls, the journals only noted that the key to finding them lay in the moonlight. Gran thinks it can be narrowed down to a handful of locations.
I take it you aren't going to let the poachers anywhere near the snidgets.
Gran wants me to stay out of it, but I know she's devastated that poachers might go after the snidgets, if they still exist. We had the element of surprise on our side when we saved that dragon, but the poachers will be watching for us now.
We need allies. Others who hate the poachers enough to help us, who value creatures as much as...
Merlin's beard! You're a genius! The centaurs! They'd want the snidgets protected at all costs.
Centaurs aren't known for being the friendliest lot, especially not with wizard kind, and not right now.
We'll need to be careful in how we approach them. Tensions with them are high. Still, I think they may be our only hope. Let me think on it. I'll let you know as soon as I have a plan.
I thought my owl might pique your interest.
I came as soon as I could.
I'd been so preoccupied by all that happened with Ominis in the catacomb, not to mention my uncle's reaction, that I'd almost forgotten what it was that struck me about that triptych. This is the view painted on the canvas that was left on it.
That's incredible. You know this area well.
And while I was waiting for you, I scouted around and discovered an abandoned mine nearby, surrounded by Ranrock's loyalists.
Do you think there's a connection to the triptych?
I've no idea, but perhaps they're searching it, the way they did Rookwood Castle and Isidora's Manor. How do we want to handle this?
We need to see what they're doing, but let's not draw their attention.
Very well.
And I still have that rune symbol we found on the triptych. If there is a connection, I suspect we'll see that symbol again.
After you. Quietly now.
There they are up ahead.
I'll let you lead.
It won't be long now.
Revelio.
We'll find another repository.
No one enters this mine. Kill anyone who tries.
Ranrock's loyalists are out for blood. This is going well.
We make a good team.
We do at that.
Once again, we could fight our way through, or be discreet.
You know which one I'd choose. And the fun is over.
Fun is a relative term.
It is. And that was relatively fun.
Revelio.
I should tell you, rumor is this mine was closed long ago due to an infestation of spiders.
How nice. Nothing I haven't seen before.
That's the spirit.
For better or for worse, we're in.
We must remain unseen. Wouldn't mind a plum job at Gringotts. Suit me, sitting around all day. My
Petrificus totalis. This mine looks like a tomb.
It was closed after accidents were reported. Now I see why.
I don't see any goblins in these webs.
Too disgusting for even a spider to prey on. How many of Ranrock's loyalists are in here?
Too many. They definitely think there's something here they want. It's no wonder spiders give people goosebumps.
Could be the hairy legs, or the soulless eyes, or the venomous fangs, or any number of endearing qualities, really. We're making quick work of them.
Professor Hecat would be proud.
She would at that. Ranrock's loyalists have all but declared war. We've still not seen a single rune symbol.
I think we're going to be a bit distracted from runes for a moment.
An unwelcome distraction at that.
We have another fight on our hands.
Why am I not surprised? We certainly cleared the room.
You're not a bad chap, for a Slytherin.
For a Ravenclaw, you certainly have a lot to learn. A rune symbol above the cavern door.
Ranrock's loyalists never knew to look for it.
Bombarda!
Wasn't expecting that.
Revelio.
What do you have there?
A journal entry by Isadora.
Hopefully it will help us unravel more of this mystery.
Sebastian, I think I found something. A canvas piece.
Brilliant. Our efforts weren't in vain after all. Still, something about this place feels odd.
Revelio. If the triptych led us here to find this bit of canvas, we can probably assume that Isadora Morganach was here.
She seems to have been everywhere.
But if she was using the Undercroft, and the cellar beneath her manor in Feldcroft, why would she create this space?
And why hide it behind cryptic rune symbols? And ancient magic that no one but you could see?
Isadora and Percival Rackham, another of the Keepers, could see traces of ancient magic too.
Rackham? I haven't heard his name before.
Here's some of the memories I've seen. I don't think he and Isadora saw eye to eye on how this magic should be used.
This is all rather baffling. Let's take the canvas back to the triptych. Perhaps the answers are there. This place is odd, to be sure, but I'm fascinated by it. Now, for the trek back out of here and to Hogwarts.
Unless we can find another passageway to the Undercroft. Let's have a look around.
And now for the moment of truth.
It has to fit. Please tell me you recognize the location in this bit of canvas.
The good news is I do, in fact.
And the bad news?
We're in for more trouble. I know that coast. Ranrock has taken over a huge mine in the surrounding area. Marrenweem has suffered for it. It's as bad as Feldcroft's become. Should we head there now?
We should wait.
Why?
All this time, we've been a step behind Ranrock. I may know someone who could help us get ahead.
Who is that?
A friendly goblin. He wants no part in Ranrock's fight.
A friendly goblin? You know, goblins cursed my sister to shut her up. Said she should be seen and not heard.
I do, but not all goblins are...
Not all goblins what? Have you forgotten Feldcroft? Have you forgotten the mine we just went through?
No, Sebastian, I haven't. You're not listening to me.
Why would I listen to someone so ignorant?
Perhaps your uncle was right about you. You don't know when to stop.
Oh, I do know when to stop. Unbelievable.
I think I know how and where to approach the centaurs about protecting the Snidgets. Meet me in the Forbidden Forest. I can do this. I can do this. They will want to help.
Is this where we're meeting the centaurs?
Well, they don't exactly know we're coming, so it's less of a meeting and more of a surprise, I suppose.
I'm not sure about this. I can't imagine they're fond of being surprised.
We don't have a choice if we want to help the Snidgets. Perhaps they'll be able to tell that we're sincere. There's something about them that's so knowing. It's almost unnerving.
I suppose they are known for having an air of omniscience.
That's exactly the right word. Never mind.
What is it?
It's nothing, truly. We've no secrets to hide.
That's right. We'll simply be honest with them about what we're trying to do. They'll have to help us, won't they?
Yes, of course. You're absolutely right. We'll meet with them, tell them about the Snidgets, and I'm sure it'll all be fine.
What do you think you're doing here, humans?
Please! We were hoping to speak with you.
Ah! I suppose you'd like a tale for your friends of the time you spoke to a centaur, and it spoke back.
No, never! We're here because we need your help.
Enough! You made a grave error in judgment in coming here, little witch.
Leave them be, Alec. We do not harm the young. It is not our way.
You forget your place, old fool. I'm the leader of this herd, and while you cling to our way, their kind continue to slaughter beasts like us without a care!
From what I can see, they have slaughtered no one. They will leave here unharmed.
Mark my words, Doran. If I ever see them again, it will be all 3 of your heads.
Foolish children. Do you know what happens to wizards who wander here? Now, follow me before
Golden
I...
Snidgets are still alive, and the poachers are after them. They know that the key to finding them lies in the moonlight, but they don't know what that means, yet. Please, help us find the Snidgets before the poachers do.
Could it be? In the south, there is a cave within which lies what the poachers seek. A moonstone. Retrieve it and place it in the henge in the forest. I, on the other hand, must go speak with the herd. Find me after you have done this.
I don't understand. So the moonlight mentioned in the journal doesn't refer to actual moonlight, but to a moonstone. What do moonstones have to do with Snidgets? And why was he so certain about where we could find one?
Isn't Moonstone all around us? Why retrieve one from a cave?
Knowing centaurs, I suspect he's referring to a specific moonstone. We'll likely know it when we see it.
I don't know, but I am inclined to believe him, what with his being a centaur and all.
I am too. It is a shame how quickly he left. What was his name? Doran.
That's what the leader of the herd called him.
Well, if Doran knows something we don't, I'd rather act now and ask questions later. I can head to the library and start looking into the cave he mentioned. I'll let you know what I find.
Are you ready to put an end to Harlow?
I'm ready to do what's needed to take Harlow down. I know you have a plan.
We must gather information from the friends of Mr. Bickle that Archie and Mrs. Bickle mentioned. Agabus Filbert, Otto Dibble, and Mr. and Mrs. Rabe.
All right.
I suggest that you speak with each of them while I head to the Hogshead. I saw some Ashwinders heading there. And as my mother would never go near the Hogshead, she is less likely to learn of my activities than if I were to wander the village questioning its residents.
Where am I to find these friends of his?
I do not know about Mr. Rabe, but his wife, Daisy, is often in Hogsmeade, as is Agabus Filbert. And Otto Dibble, he works at Gladrags, so you will likely find him there.
What sort of information am I trying to gather from these people?
They may know what evidence Mr. Bickle had against Harlow, or they may have evidence of their own. We simply need to know whatever they know.
Very well. I'll speak with them, see what I can learn.
I knew I could rely on you. We need to know how they are being blackmailed by Rookwood and Harlow. Meet me here after you have spoken with them. Hopefully, by the time you return, I will be able to move a bit more freely.
Mrs. Rabe, I wondered if I might speak with you about Theophilus Harlow. I'm a friend of the Bickles and I'm trying to gather evidence against him.
Poor Joanna and little Archie. And now Harlow has taken my darling Isco.
What do you mean? Why?
I'm a security guard at Gringotts, and my husband is a curse breaker for them. Harlow approached me about helping him extort my colleagues into giving him treasures from the vaults.
And you declined?
Of course I declined. Repeatedly. I thought they'd given up, until I came home one night and found my husband gone, and a note affixed to my door with a knife. The note stated that I only had a few days to reconsider helping with some banking needs, and that my husband would appreciate it if I acted quickly. But the help Harlow wants is help that I cannot give, and my dearest Isco is paying the price.
Why wouldn't Harlow extort your husband?
Isco's job is even more removed from the vaults than mine. He travels the world for the bank. He could do nothing for Harlow. I'm the one in the bank on a daily basis, which evidently makes me an enticing target for blackmail.
Have you helped Harlow since your husband was taken?
No, I'm worried sick about Isco, but he'd never want me to compromise my integrity. I also know that he's extremely clever. That said, I was hoping he would have escaped by now. It makes me concerned as to why he hasn't.
Are you sure the note means that your husband was kidnapped?
What else could it possibly mean? Besides, I came home to find that someone had trampled the daisies in our garden. It may sound silly, but those were Isco's pride and joy. He would never have let that happen.
Thank you, Mrs. Rabe. Knowing the lengths that Harlow will go to is helpful, albeit more than disturbing.
Mr. Bickle was trying to help us, but now he's gone. I don't know what to do.
I shall do all I can to get evidence against Harlow, Mrs. Rabe.
Very well. Here's the note I received. You must be careful as well. Please don't put yourself in danger.
Some evidence worth hanging on to.
Thank you. I hope it's not too late.
Now, to find Mr. Bickle's other two friends. Mr. Dibble, may I speak with you? It's about Theophilus Harlow.
I've nothing to say about him. May I interest you in a stunning cravat today?
Please, sir, I'd like to help. I spoke to Mrs. Bickle.
You know the Bickles? All right. But we must be discreet. Can't have Mr. Hill hearing this.
I know Mr. Hill. He was kind to me the day of the troll attack.
Oh, he's a good man. But even he wouldn't understand about Harlow. It started a few weeks ago. I was distracted, reading a note, when you-know-who came into the shop. I hid the note behind the counter and offered to help him. He stared at me for a moment, then asked me to check on an order he'd placed. I went into the storeroom to check on what turned out to be a non-existent order. When I returned, he was holding the note.
What was in the note?
It was a note from Rosie Hill, Mr. Hill's daughter. You see, we've been, secretly engaged these past 6 months. We haven't told Mr. Hill yet. I dare say he has higher hopes for her. Harlow advised me in no uncertain terms that my relationship with Rosie, not to mention my employment here, depended upon my cooperation.
What did he ask you to do?
It all happened so quickly. In an instant, he took a very expensive scarf from the counter, pocketed it, and smiled. He said, "Your secret is safe as long as I can supply my lady friend with delightful items like this every so often." I've been able to cover for his requests until now with some creative bookkeeping, but I can't keep it up for much longer. I'm terrified to say anything. I could never live without Rosie.
Could you give me a bit more detail about the note? That might help me to identify it should I come across it.
It's on Rosie's special pink stationery. It has her monogram at the top, RH. That's how Mr. Hill would know it was real.
What have you been doing to keep the extortion a secret?
Well, as I mentioned, creative bookkeeping. And I've also been trying to cover the costs with my own savings, but I'm running out of money. Of course, none of this bodes well for my efforts to improve my circumstances and be worthy of Rosie.
I met Mr. Hill the day of the troll attack. He was kind to me. Why don't you just tell him?
He's a lovely man. But when it comes to Rosie, I fear he loses all perspective. He'd see this as a grave betrayal. I'd lose my job instantly, and Rosie as well.
Thank you for telling me. I'm gathering evidence to take Harlow down.
I would love nothing more than to see him rotting in Azkaban, but be careful. He's an awful man and incredibly dangerous. As for Rosie's letter, should you happen upon it, I have committed it to memory. You may destroy it immediately.
Understood.
Now hurry off before Mr. Hill returns. Where was I?
We're on the right track. Now to find the last of Mr. Bickle's friends. Agabus Filbert must be around here somewhere.
Hello there.
Excuse me, Mr. Filbert. I wondered if I might speak with you about your dealings with Theophilus Harlow. I hope to ease Mrs. Bickle's mind by gathering evidence against him.
Tragic, what happened to Bickle. He wanted me to speak out against Harlow for an act of violence committed against me. But I feared Harlow's retaliation, and so I refused.
If you had spoken out against him as Mr. Bickle asked, perhaps Harlow would be locked away by now.
Perhaps. But perhaps I would have suffered a similar fate.
You said that Harlow committed an act of violence against you. Could you tell me what happened?
Before my extraordinary wife, Dulcibella, passed away, she had just completed a small book of poetry. As a surprise for her birthday, one she never had the chance to celebrate, I had the book beautifully bound and plated in gold. One day, Harlow came calling to punish me for having spoken out against the Neanderthals that comprise Rookwood's lot. Before I knew it, I'd been petrified, and Harlow was rifling through my home. He found the book of poetry, with its exquisite gold plating. I watched helplessly, lying there in my entranceway as he walked away with the book, laughing as he went. I was shaken to my core. Still am, to be honest.
I imagine you fear Harlow retaliating again, but do you mind if I share this information with Officer Singer?
I suppose I have no choice. This extortion can't go on forever. You can pass it on to anyone who may be willing to help. Harlow does not like people talking, as you already know.
I've spoken with Mr. Bickle's friends. Now to find Natty. It's not like Natty to be late. She said she was going to the Hog's Head. Perhaps I'll find her there. Natty's wand. She can cast without it. She wanted me to find this. She's in trouble. Revelio will show me where she was taken.
Nosy little students get what's coming to them.
Revelio!
Let's do the hard work then.
Natty must have been taken this way. I need to find her quickly. Her footprints led to this room. There must be another way forward. Revelio. Accio. A hidden door. Natty must have been taken this way. I need to find her quickly.
It's not gonna work. Using that girl as bait, no one's coming for her. We ought to just kill her. Only a Hogwarts student would be arrogant enough to come in here alone.
The book of poems that was taken from Agabus Filbert. He'll be thrilled to have this back. Otto Dibble's love letter from Rosie. He wanted me to destroy this if I found it. Natty must be here somewhere.
You found us. I knew you would realize I had left my wand for you. Speak to Mr. Rabe. He will tell you what you need to do. Over here. I need your help.
Mr. Rabe, Daisy told me you'd been abducted.
You spoke with my wife. How is she?
Worried about you. Are you all right?
I am all right. Thank you for coming. These locks are cursed, and there's an anti-apparition jinx on the cells. Even Natty's skill with wandless magic cannot free us. I need you to find my wand.
Use mine. We'll find yours together once you're out of there.
I need my wand for this. Using one with which I have no connection may not work as well or as quickly, and we cannot risk detection.
I shall do my best. Any idea where it might be?
It's nearby. I can sense it.
Understood. I'll find it.
Your friend Natty was not able to summon my wand. It must be blocked by something.
Revelio. Mr. Rabe's wand could be in there. Mr. Rabe's wand. He'll be glad to have this back. Mr. Rabe, I found your wand.
Well done. I knew it was nearby. Now, you best stand back. One never knows how a curse will react to being broken.
Thank you, Mr. Isco.
My pleasure. And thank you, my friend. We owe our lives to your bravery. I may be too weak to disapparate with you both, but I can try.
You go ahead. Find Officer Singer. We will get out of here on our own.
Very well. But be careful. Thank you, my young friends.
Be prepared for a fight. These Ashwinders must pay. Let's find Officer Singer and put an end to Harlow once and for all.
Natsai Onai. I should have known. And you, the troll dispatcher. Oh, thank goodness the two of you are safe. Isco Rabe told me a couple of students had rescued him. Should have known it was you two.
Is Mr. Rabe all right?
He is. I sent him home to his wife. Miss Onai, your mother will not be pleased to learn that you're still risking your safety pursuing these dangerous men.
Actually, Officer Singer, Natty and I learned of several Hogsmeade residents who've had their lives threatened by the Ashwinders. In addition to abducting Mr. Rabe to blackmail his wife and Natty, Rookwood and Harlow have also extorted Agabus Filbert and Otto Dibble.
I will look into all of that. As for the two of you, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but you are taking great risk. Next time, please let the authorities handle the Ashwinders.
With all due respect, officer, the authorities haven't done much about any of this.
There's more to taking down an organization like the Ashwinders than simply storming in and hauling them off based on a few accusations. I must insist that you leave them to us. We shall have no further discussion on this. Natsai, you may wish to speak with your mother about this before I do.
My mother will not like this. Thank you again for rescuing me. We shall speak soon.
Mr. Filbert, I have your book.
But how did you... Oh, thank you. I can't tell you what this means to me.
I'm glad to have been of help.
Oh, my. I cannot believe I have this bit of my dearest Dulcibella back. Thank you, my young friend. Thank you.
The Ashwinders have ceased pestering me. I suspect that's your doing. Thank you from me and Rosie both. We're just leaving for our honeymoon, after we tell Mr. Hill of our recent marriage. Wish me luck.